This demo will show a new feature that we've added in GMS 10.8, the ability to use pass-through cells in ModFlow USG and ModFlow USG transport. So we're going to cover 3 different things with this. So first, I'll provide some background and motivation for using these. I'll explain what exactly is a pass-through cell, and then I'll demonstrate the new feature. Okay, so let's start by providing the background and motivation for this feature. Okay, so I've got a project here with a traditional ModFlow model, ModFlow 2000 model that's using a structured grid. And you can see looking at it, it's got 3 layers, and notice that it looks like the middle layer pinches out. However, when we inspect this a little more closely, and I go into side view here, you'll be able to see that as I zoom in, that middle layer isn't completely pinched out. It's just been made really thin. And part of the reason for this is that if I were to remove those cells in the middle layer by setting the I bound to 0, what it would do is it would create a no flow boundary between layers 1 and layers 3. And that's not how the physical system actually works, so I don't want to do that. So what I'm left with is I have to choose some sort of small thickness there, and maybe I adjust the material properties or the hydraulic properties out in that layer so that I can represent this type of feature in a model. So now we'll talk about what exactly a pass-through cell would be and how would I use it. So ModFlow 6 has introduced the idea of a pass-through cell. And what a pass-through cell would do, if I zoom back in here, what it will do is it will actually connect layer 1 to layer 3 vertically if I've marked the cell in layer 2 as a pass-through cell. So that cell in layer 2 gets removed. ModFlow doesn't do any calculations, but I don't create an internal no flow boundary. I actually have a connection between layers 1 and layers 3 so that flow can cross that boundary. So that's what a pass-through cell would be. So now we're going to show the new feature and how I can use these pass-through cells in a ModFlow USG model. Okay, so now I've got a very similar model to the one I was shown previously, except you can see this one's an unstructured grid. It's got some quad tree cells in it. And if I look at the individual layers, I'll start here with layer 1. So there's layer 1. You can see here I've got layer 2, and notice that out here in this area, kind of in these cells all have very small thickness, and they're the ones that I want to remove and do the vertical pass-through with. And then here you can see layer 3, okay? So the way the feature works is I can come into the global options with ModFlow USG, and there's this button here at the bottom that says set pass-through. So if I click on that, it gives me an explanation of what pass-through cells are and tells me that it's going to modify the disu package so that I have these connections between the layers that I want. So I'll select OK. And now the maximum cell thickness, my cells I know that I want to remove, they actually have a thickness of 0. So I'll leave this at that value. I'll select OK. It tells me that it found 331 pass-through cells. Select OK again, and click OK. And now we'll see if I come back here to single layer. When I go to layer 2, it's removed those cells that that had that 0 thickness. It's removed them in terms of being able to see them. It's set the I bound to 0, and it's marked them as pass-through, so that when I go to save the disu package, layers out in these areas here, layer 1 is going to be connected to layer 3. All right, so I'll go ahead and I will save this simulation, and I'll go ahead and run ModFlow USG. You can see it runs. And I get contours, and out in these areas, I actually have removed those cells, and I've got pass-through cells that have occurred here. So I've got the same functionality that ModFlow 6 has with pass-through cells, but using ModFlow USG or USG transport. And that's the end of this demo.